Hi there. Sorry. Yeah, I am. Very good to see you. Yeah, sorry, just going to quickly. Okay, we're currently broadcasting live down in central London. So as you see the Israeli protesters behind me, there's a couple dozen protesters, and the Palestinian march has just set off around 25 minutes ago and will be making its way via Aldwych and then heading down towards Parliament Square, where they'll be doing speeches. But this Israeli protest is projected to occur for around 2 hours, so it's starting properly in the next 5 minutes and it's going to be ending at 2:30. Welcome onto the channel though, my name is Louis Errington, I'm an independent journalist and I hope you enjoy this live stream today. It's been a while, so welcome back. After 3 weeks, we've taken a bit of a break after a while, but thank you once again for tuning in. We'll try to speak to both sides and see what they have to say and ask various questions as well, as we normally do. But it's been a while, so I'll just check the live chat quickly to see who's on. But yeah, welcome onto the stream. How are you doing? Very good to see you. My name's Louis Errington on YouTube. Very good to meet you. How are you? Do you want to say a few words to the camera about today? Okay, that's fine.
No, I'm not part of the protest.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. So just behind me, the Palestinian protest will be passing through this direction, just past the Israeli protest. And as we see, the police have formed a barrier to keep the two groups separated throughout the course of the afternoon. We'll try to do some interviews, speak to a few people and see what they think about the recent situation, because Iran has launched missile strikes as we know already, against Israel. So I'll ask for the Israelis' protesters' opinions on that, and also the Palestinians too. But welcome to the channel. Hope you enjoyed today's live stream. We'll also be broadcasting tomorrow at Speaker's Corner, so stay tuned for that. And if you're new, remember to subscribe and hit the bell notification button so you can stay notified whenever I go live or upload a new video. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy. Sorry? Tying in with what I'm doing now. Yeah. I might put some of this in my podcast. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Go on, Louis. See ya. Hi sir, how are you? My name's Louis Errington. I'm an independent freelance journalist. Very good to meet you. How do you do? Would you like to say a few words to the camera about today's protest and what's going on at the moment? Or feel free. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, I'll just set the camera up. Perfect. So what do you make of the current situation going on? And as we know already that Iran has tried to hit Israel with missiles.
Look, it's terrible. All of this is on Hamas and what they set off on October 7th last year. To see the streets of London, as we will do in the next hour or so, with presumably tens of thousands of people supporting what Hamas did last October 7th, and the chaos that's set off through the region is appalling. And actually, I think if the authorities in the UK had one job after October 7th, it was to ensure that that didn't seep into the streets of London, but they failed miserably in making sure the conflict does not seep into the streets of London, sadly. And look, Israel is surrounded by the Islamic regime and its proxies, and needs to deal with that if the region is ever to see peace. And, you know, I suspect that means that there'll be some pretty heavy retribution for the 200 ballistic missiles that Iran sent on Tel Aviv and other parts of Israel the other night. And I suspect that will come in the next 48 hours or so, probably. And people will talk about that, no doubt, being an escalation. But really, an escalation on 200 ballistic missiles sent on a civilian population of Israel? Sorry, that's not an escalation, that's an appropriate response.
What do you think of the UK government's response so far? Do you think they're doing enough?
Look, I think actually in their deeds they are being reasonably supportive. I'd love to see them doing more. But I can see as well that they're playing a kind of two-faced game of saying something to the electorate here in the UK, whilst knowingly and correctly being supportive of Israel's fight for Western civilization. And I think they need to be more robust in what they're saying to the UK population. And that also means actually not allowing the UK public broadcasting service of the BBC to air an appalling interview with the Hamas leader. Also to air a 40-minute sermon from Khamenei yesterday, with a sermon that would never be allowed in UK mosques. I hope it would be prosecuted, presumably, if it was repeated in UK mosques. And yet the BBC thought that it was wise to show that live. Quite remarkable, and the UK government really needs to get a grip.
Now, overall, what do you think the solution to this should be, and how should the government respond to it?
Look, I don't think there are any easy solutions. You know, Israel is fighting for its survival and for its rightful place in the Middle East. I think sadly they have a medieval barbaric opponent, and until I think the culture changes, or there's regime change, probably more appropriately in Iran, because Israel's fight and the West's fight is not with the Iranian people at all, as we see here. There are many Iranians standing with us, but with the Islamic regime, that needs to be changed for the new Middle East to take further shape, and it is already taking shape with the support that Israel has from the UAE, from Jordan, and others. So, look, I think there is hope, but this will take time to play out.
Thank you so much for your time on camera today. My name is Louis Errington. You can check my channel out on YouTube. Louis Errington. Yeah, feel free to check that out. Thank you. Hi there. Do you know where the best place to stand for journalists would be? Because I have my own channel, I'm a freelancer, and I'm also doing this for my potentially my university project, because I'm studying digital media production, and I'm trying to get interviews from both sides of the answer, because the topic is to do with taboo, and it's to show like both sides of the argument.
So the thing is that it would either be on this side chatting with this side.
Yeah. There's no like middle spot.
No, there's no middle spot. We'd recommend being out of this area because you can't really leave what's here.
Okay. I mean, yeah, this is a job. Right?
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
I reckon I can.
Yeah, we'll let you out
Definitely. If I need to interview on that side. My name's Louis, by the way. Very good to meet you. Louis, nice to meet you. Yeah. I'll show my channel. We have a few people watching already. Sorry. Yeah, so that's the broadcast, just showing And as we see, the Israeli protest is behind me at the moment, and the Palestinian march should be passing by fairly shortly, and it's marching down towards Westminster near Parliament Square. I covered everything. Yeah, I cover everything. I'm not signed into them, just me myself. It's fine, Hi there. Hi there. My name's Louis. I'm an independent journalist. I'm on YouTube. I have a live broadcast. We'd like to say a few words to the camera about today and the protest today and everything.
Yeah?
Okay, sure.
What's it going to be on?
So it's on my own page. I cover everything in London, and I'm studying digital media production at uni.
What do you want to say?
In response to what happened recently with the Iranian missile strikes, what's your take on that?
I think it was absolutely appalling to almost 200 ballistic missiles at Israel. Such a shame. I hope the Ayatollahs will be gone soon and we'll have a wonderful and free Iran, free from the Ayatollahs and free for the Middle East.
What do you think of the UK government's response so far? Do you think they're doing enough?
No, absolutely not. I appeal here to the UK government, do more to free the Middle East of terror. Do more to support the people of Iran who want freedom. Do something for the women of Iran who want freedom.
Do you have any friends and family who are personally affected by the situation ongoing? And what are their experiences as such?
It's been a horrific 12 months. Absolutely horrific. And I hope the hostages are released soon.
Thank you so much. Hi, sir, how are you? Great to see you. Do you want to say a few words to the camera about today? Thank
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. So,
Hi.
so what do you think of? Yeah, let's just stand here. Probably get the background of the protest. So we know recently Iran tried to hit Israel with missiles. What's your take on that?
Israel will come victorious. Iran are scared. It's like you've cornered a hyena. It's like a lion cornering a hyena. A hyena always tries to bite back as if he can fight, but he can't. The Iranians are scared. They've seen that their Hezbollah that was meant to be powerful than Hamas can be wiped out within less than a month. You understand? And the world is looking at it thinking, wow, these people, the UN have wasted their time in Lebanon thinking they were bringing peace. No, they were grooming retards like Hezbollah into thinking they are freedom fighters. They are not. They are just terrorists who had the Lebanese people under bondages. They kept rockets in their houses. They are nobody. Hezbollah is nobody. It's like the mullahs of Iran. They are nobody. I'm a Christian. If you want my advice, I say this. Spend the wealth of Iran in developing Iran. Spend the wealth of Iran. Don't buy guns and missiles. It won't help you. It got blown up overnight. You spend these things on building. Look at the way Qatar looks. Look at the way the Saudis. Look at Iran, Dubai. Beautiful. Spend the oil wealth of Iran into human development so that every Iranian will live a better life. Investing in jet fighters and rockets, you're not going anywhere. And you don't even know how to use it. You launch what? 150 rockets and 2 hits Tel Aviv in fails and you're happy? What if Israel retaliates and hits your city and it hits Tehran? You're going to start crying. It's like Hamas. You've been launching rockets, now you get one in your community and you're calling it genocide. Use the wealth of Iran for human development. That's the only thing we advise you all. And Israel lives.
What do you think of the UK government's response so far? Do you think it's enough?
It's not UK government. No. This is the past. I want you to be clear. The Labour Party are retards. David Lammy is a retard. Keir Starmer retards. The real British people are civilized people. We want peace. We want the ideas of Iran to be eradicated from the Middle East. We want everybody in the Middle East to live in peace, just like the way we have here. But unfortunately, we have Starmer, David Lammy, retards. They don't know how to confront or project peaceful path to a problem like this. You have to tell Iran to stop doing what they are doing. A proper government will tell Iran, look, where you're going, remember, you're launching rockets into civilian areas in Israel. If they retaliate, it will harm you more. And you have to stop. But unfortunately, they're not doing that. They are politicizing. They are retards. The Labour Party is retarded people party. They are full of people who are controlled by the media and globalists. They don't have the interest of what British people really think at heart.
And in terms of the whole situation going on, what do you think the solution is?
We still want our hostages back. We want Hamas to surrender. Even Hezbollah, we want the Lebanese government to confront Hezbollah and say, look, what you are doing, the rockets you are launching into Israel will cause the death of Lebanon, because Israel have the right to defend themselves. They have the right to come to Lebanon and fight Hezbollah off. It's up to the Lebanese people to confront the Hezbollah and remove them from their communities. The same, Hamas to surrender and give up the hostages. We want peace in the Middle East. We had World Cup in the Middle East, yeah? You saw Qatar hosting. That's what we want. You see UFC is going to Saudi Arabia, boxing fights. We want to see what the Middle East has for the world. Because, look, it's a place that so many civilizations that we uphold in the West come from. So we want to see the best of the Middle East. We don't want the Middle East to be about guns and killing and children turn into suicide bombers and all that. That's not what we want. We want peace in the Middle East.
Do you think the war might get worse before it gets better? And do you think it might be potential global conflicts in the future?
I don't think Iran the mullahs are valued enough for the whole world to go to Third World War because of the mullahs. I don't think that. We value ourselves. But the mullahs are trying very hard to make themselves look as if they are important. And I believe it's because of the $100 billion of oil that the Biden administration in America have allowed them to obviously sell. When they were under sanctions, they were broke. You understand? But I don't think the whole world will jump into Third World War because of the mullahs. It's cheaper to remove them. It's cheaper to establish proper, respectable democracy that work for all Iranians in Iran. It's cheaper to do that than to everybody rising up. Russia won't go to war because of Iran. You know what I mean? Even the Saudis, in the Middle East, even the Americans, they're not really going to go to war because of Iran. And Israel is not going to lose all their arms because of this retarded mullahs. It's a conflict that will end like the way you're looking at Hezbollah. Where's Hamas? They're gone. Yahya Sinwar is now a rat in a hole, isn't it? Yeah. It hasn't destroyed Israel. So it's not a conflict that will stage a World War III as everybody is hoping it will be. I don't think it will.
What about the risk of nuclear weaponry?
The only person that I'm hoping that should never be allowed to have nukes is the Iranian, the Mullah regime, because obviously they don't care about Iranian people. If you launch a nuclear weapon, everybody will come after you. The whole world will come after you. It's not, once you launch a nuclear weapon now, no matter who you are, the whole world will come after you, because it kills the whole, look at the Japanese nuclear weapon that killed people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The whole world came to realize America should calm down, and then look, we haven't used one again. Nobody is going to allow a nuclear war. And these Iranians, I wish them well. I wish that nobody should wish that somebody should be nuked. I wish Iranians have come to know a couple of them, even in our rallies. Most of them have come to know are good people, and I don't think they should be allowed to think the world is going to go to a nuclear war because of the mullahs in Iran. I don't think that will happen.
Do you think the current Iranian regime will eventually be dismantled?
I think it's already, they're already, how do I describe it? The world have seen, the Islamic world, we know, we are children of church, we know, but I think the Islamic world have seen how easy they can be dismantled. Look at Hezbollah. Look at Hamas. Even look at the Houthis. Every one of their proxies they were using, look, they have no use. You understand? The mullahs themselves are not useful to the Iranian people. You understand me? The amount of oil, the amount of history that the mullahs have covered up. Nobody knows anything about Iran. Yeah, they live in like a third world country. Even though with proper government, yeah, they will look like what China is today. The Persian people are very diverse people. They've got great history. You understand? It's the mullahs that they are like a cancer to the Iranians. You understand me? You've got the Saudis building oil refinery everywhere. They are developing. Look at Saudi Arabia now. Anthony Joshua went to fight in Riyadh, isn't it? Everybody's loving them. Look at Dubai. Everybody's loving. Look at Israel. The mullahs have hijacked Iran, and they are keeping the Iranian people in poverty. And the whole world is coming to see, recognize that. So I don't think it will merit anything significant. The Iranians themselves will dismantle them.
Now, to be slightly devil's advocate and impartial, you say all of this, but how come there are a lot of Palestinian protests taking place every couple of weeks in 1 month?
Because this is what the Iranian regime invests in. You know, not just the protests, our media, the Western liberal media have been hijacked. Look, 100 billion. The Biden administration have allowed Iran to earn from their oil. They've invested, this is all Iranian investment. And the media propaganda. You understand? That's why the likes of us have come and said, you know what? We don't care about media, we don't care about the liberalism and all that nonsense. We stand with Israel. Let the Jewish people know we stand with them. You understand me? It's a media, this is why, what you're coming to see today is what Iran, the mullahs invested in. You understand me? And these people, they don't come from London. They come from all over United Kingdom. Some of them all the way from Edinburgh. They pay them to be here. But this is what the mullah regime invests in London. But the real British people, obviously they want peace in the Middle East. You understand? Yeah.
And in terms, so you think they're funded?
They are
to
funded.
Be more devil's advocate, what are your sources of information and how can you back that up?
We see them every day. I go to protest every Friday in Swiss Cottage, yeah? We come from everywhere in London. These people that are coming here, looking at them in London, they are not from here. They are funded, that's why I said the mullahs, even Hamas used to do that. Yeah, Hezbollah, they used to do they invest in this kind of thing, thinking, this is what, like the way you're recording me, this is what you're going to hear from their media. Oh, London rose for Hezbollah. in Hamas or Lebanese television, London rise up for Hezbollah, which is a lie. You understand me? We're almost 63 million people. These are people coming from. They've been harvested by the mosque around UK to come and walk on our street. You know, and the media propaganda you get from Al Jazeera and all that. That's what prompts this kind of rallies. But
that was a very interesting conversation. Thank you so much for your time on camera. Very much appreciated. Do you mind if I just get a picture of your poster? Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Hi there, how are you doing?
Hello,
very
mate,
good
how
to see
you
you.
doing?
How's
How
it
was your
been?
exams?
Yeah, very good, thanks. I'm
Good.
now studying media production. Yeah. So yeah, and this might contribute to the project as well. I'm going to interview both sides. Do you want to say a few words to the camera today? Should we just get like a good backdrop of the crowd maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon this is perfect. Okay, wonderful. So we know that recently Iran tried to hit Israel with anti missiles recently. What's your take on that?
You know, actually it's unprecedented. 180 ballistic missiles sent by Iran, and my take is this: is that Israel should be free to respond. I noticed Biden said, "Yeah, you should respond, but don't hit nuclear sites and don't hit the oil." And I'd be thinking, what you actually want to hit is the nuclear places, because we do not want Iran to have a nuclear bomb. We've seen what they would do. I think their leadership is chaotic. I think they're driven by a hateful agenda, an agenda they have terrorist group all over the world, particularly around the Middle East. You've got Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas. They are a major threat, not just to Israel and the Jewish people, but actually to Western civilization, democracy. So my take is Israel should be free to respond like we would if France did that to us. Not that France would, we love France.
Now, in terms of the whole situation, what is your opinion on the UK government's response? Do you think they're doing enough, or should they do more?
No, I noticed he said we helped and we did our bit when the missiles were coming over. We don't actually have the technology there at the minute to shoot down these missiles because we haven't got enough sailors to. There's been so many cuts to the armed forces. But anyway, my response to the UK government is this: when they first came to power, within a week or 2 weeks, they stopped opposing the ICJ's attempt to arrest Netanyahu, etc. They talked about an arms embargo or not selling arms to Israel anymore. Not that that will make a difference to Israel. So I was really disappointed and not very optimistic about the next 4 or 5 years. But to be fair, Starmer has said, what's he said? He said, we back Israel's right to defend themselves. But then they always add in proportion and as long as they don't do this, do that, do this. I think Israel should wage the war as they feel, and they are an ally, a democratic ally. I'm not hugely impressed with the government.
So, now from your perspective, do you think Keir Starmer is trying to appeal to both sides?
Absolutely, always, you know, always, even David Lammy as well. They have a number of, you know, Muslim voters, for example, and they feel the need to appease or appeal. I don't know, I think this is clear for me. This is a clear case of terrorists attacking a country, taking hostages, puppet master Iran, sending missiles, an ally of ours. I think we should be right there. This is actually about Western democracy that's under threat. So I think that I'd like to see them come out stronger.
Now you're saying all of this to be devil's advocate and impartial. How come, you're saying all of this, and from your opinion you might think it's true, but how come there are still a lot of Palestinian protests taking place every month or so? And why do you think they seem to be very popular as well?
Yeah, they are very well attended. Like, I've got my take on it. They're very well organised, actually, and you know, I know that they're very well funded. I would say, look, follow the money, go to Qatar. But also, a lot of people would say, you know, oh, we don't want to see innocents killed, but actually there's so much misinformation on social media, particularly TikTok. It's actually been proven that Russia, China, Iran, you know, pay for algorithms that are anti-Israel. And I would sum it up like this: the crowd isn't always right, you know. The crowd wasn't right in the Holocaust. The crowd wasn't right in World War II. So just because there's many of them doesn't mean they're right.
Yeah, sure. And what do you think the solution should to be with this at the end of it? Should it be two states or should it just be a one state?
I don't think we should be talking about a two-state solution after this attack, after this terrorist attack. I don't believe that at all. I know this, that there are 2 million Muslim Arabs living in Israel that have equal rights, and I know that there are no Jews in Gaza or the West Bank. I know that if they had their way, they don't even want two states. They've been offered two states many times. They were offered two states in 1948. They don't want two states. Can we understand that? Can we just make that clear? They want one state. And if there was one state there, there'll be no Jews there. So I don't even want to be having this conversation right now while there's still a 1-year-old baby in a hostage in a tunnel in Gaza.
So thank you so much for your interview today. Man. Much appreciated. That was really good. And yeah, I'll definitely see you around sometime. Thank you. okay if I could just quickly get a shot from the front? Or... Oh, no. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Get out of here, you moron! Where's your food?
was a great place to work.
Need to get a good camera angle for
Yeah, I
this.
know. I think here, Louis, the best.
At least my tripod could extend a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get one of them.
That's so useful. I'm going to try to stand here more in the middle.
Do you want to stand here?
Probably even here, if not. Here might be good. Well, you know what, yeah, I might go in the corner if that's alright. Is it okay if I can go in the corner? Thank you so much. That's really kind. Just need to adjust this. Yeah. I was thinking, normally there's like a press area, but today I don't know if there is. I'll stand in the middle.
I see this side.
as you see now, the Palestinian protesters are currently passing by the Israel protests, and the main demand from the Palestinians is for an immediate ceasefire, and the main demand from the Israeli side is for the hostages to be released, then a ceasefire. But welcome onto the stream. My name's Louis Errington. I'm an independent freelance journalist, and I cover a broad variety of events and protests, and also Speaker's Corner on a frequent basis. So thank you for tuning in, and if you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe as we cover a lot of things in central London. But as we see right behind me, there's a large crowd of Palestinian protesters heading towards Westminster Park, walking past the Israeli protests. But as we see in between over there, there's a bit of a gap to separate the two crowds from clashing. So the police have actually in fact set up a barrier to keep the Israeli protesters on one side, and then the stewards on the Palestinian protest basically formed a line to prevent the Palestinian protesters from getting too close to the Israeli protesters. But I'll just show you right behind me what the mood looks like. It's very tense. Both sides are chanting all sorts of things towards each other, and there's a heavy police presence over here at the moment. big. Stand over there. I reckon we stand there. We can get a good view as well.
supporters off our streets! Terrorist supporters off our streets!
Terrorist supporters
Off our streets! Terrorist supporters off our streets!
Terrorist supporters
Off our streets!
Terrorist supporters off our streets! Terrorist supporters off our streets! Take it back!
Show your face! Unmask the head! Unmask the head! Unmask the head! Show his face! Unmask the head!
Let's take job!
Show him! Terrorist
Show his face! Unmask the head!
Terrorist supporters off
Our streets! Terrorist supporters off our streets!
Terrorist supporters off our streets!
face of a hater. That's where hate takes you. He knows nothing will happen to him. been? Where have you been? Where have you been, Hamas supporter? Where have you been? Hamas supporter. You're a terrorist supporter. Where have you been? Where have you been? Have you been over there at Roxburgh? Where have you been? I missed you. I haven't seen you for a while. You must have been going hard, yeah? You must have been killing a few babies, yeah? Well done. Where have you been? Alright. Come back to the middle right. Good. This geezer with that flowers there. Everything they say to you. You understand? Why are they? Because no, he hasn't been arrested. I haven't been arrested. I haven't done anything wrong. I've just said from Palestine. And he put his hands on me. I didn't do anything in retaliation. I've done everything. I was just fine. You understand why I believe not particularly. I wasn't resisting anything. I got pushed a few times, and I just said, you fucking launched me up against this. I'm a 17-year-old kid. There's no need. I understand. I can't say that. You take me so far. You take me so far.
As we see, 2 people have just been arrested. A bit of breaking news there. So in total there have been 3 arrests so far today that I covered on this live broadcast. Welcome onto the channel. My name is Louis Errington. I'm a freelance independent journalist, and if you're new, definitely subscribe and hit the bell notification button, as we'll be broadcasting tomorrow as well. So stay tuned.
Get the film of those 2 being arrested. Finally, we bring people to secure the day.
there's a large crowd of Palestinian protesters here today, and 4 of the Palestinian protesters were arrested. What do you make of that?
I make of it, I think it's a good sign that the police are doing something. It also represents the fact that this movement, this is not Israel versus Palestine or Judaism against Islam. This whole situation that we're seeing is right versus wrong, is light versus dark, and is an Islamist, colonial, communism, fascist movement versus a democratic freedom, life, love movement, which is what we represent here, which is why in our crowd, everyone holding the Israel flag, we have Muslims, Christians, Jews, people of no faith, atheists, the same as that group. It's not a religion versus a religion or a country versus a country. This is a sea of hatred, a sea of lies and a sea of radicalisation, and it's scary when we are the minority standing here. We are a small group like the Bible, like David versus Goliath. These people 100% are full of people that support Hamas, 100% support the Islamist ideology. They want Israel to be completely destroyed. They continue repeating lies as if it's truth, hoping that it will be true to give them a reason. They laugh when we say rape is not resistance. These are the people that we live in with in the UK. A lot of them are not from here. I myself am an immigrant and I absorbed into the English culture, and I do not want to push my culture on this country. But sadly, I feel that the UK has been so tolerant of everyone and so worried about not offending anyone. We're losing who we are as a nation. Great Britain has changed from when I arrived here in the early 90s to now it's a different place. And the fact that this is allowed, I understand the democratic right and freedom to protest, but this is hatred, so I'm not surprised they arrested people on their side.
What do you think of Keir Starmer's response to the whole situation so far?
Well, I think the fact that he called the hostage sausages says it all. He's not engaged in this. He's very worried about upsetting anyone, and so therefore he's not being a strong leader. I wish in this moment we had a Winston Churchill type leader that would be strong about the values of the UK. And if we're such a tolerant country, why are we allowing intolerance? It's ironic.
Do you think the government should go further in their response, or are they doing enough already?
I think that the police need to be a lot firmer on the rhetoric that is allowed. I think that the government needs to be pushing, especially with the BBC, allowing our national broadcaster to spew hatred, to spew lies, and yesterday they allowed the Islamic regime's leader a 45-minute live stream slot with the title saying basically October 7th was justified and fine. And they allowed that to be a main banner of our national broadcaster. I feel like they're not doing enough. They're not holding these people accountable for their hatred. Absolutely not.
That's finally switching topics. So
Yeah.
do you think Iran will eventually become more democratic in the future?
I hope so, and I hope people know the difference between Iran and the Islamic regime, because the people of Iran are being held hostage by an evil, autocratic dictatorship that is the Islamic regime, and who they were in the 70s is very different to who they are now. The Islamic regime have an absolute motivation and drive to create a global caliphate. They 100% do, they tell us they do, this is not Islamophobia, they kill Muslims as well. Remember what Hezbollah did, Nasrallah paired up with Assad, killing, some people say, almost 1 million people. And they've been using images from Hezbollah's own massacre of the Syrian people in Aleppo and pretending it's Gaza. And these people eat it up. They don't care about women and children, they just hate Israel. It's an anti-Semitic spirit behind all of this.
We see there's a large crowd here today of Palestinian protesters.
Yeah.
And a lot of what you say might be true, many would agree, but why do you think there's still a huge crowd of Palestinian protesters?
I think that the social media is informing our culture educating people, and we have raised a generation who don't know how to critically think for themselves, and they have equated certain things with bad and good, i.e. white people bad, brown people good. And so this whole DEI movement, which of course Black Lives Matter, I am mixed race, I know I look white but I'm a Māori from New Zealand, and yeah, I think that social media has a lot to answer for, and mainstream media. So I think it's depressing to see who we live with, but at least we now can see what we are surrounded by and what this government has allowed to take root and morally rot our society, because the Jews are the canary in the coal mine. They are indicative of how healthy society is, and our society is rotten because we're allowing this. And look at all this support. It's a sea of hatred.
Who do you think is to blame for the mass division going on at the moment?
Who is to blame? Well, I mean, I am a reverend, so I think my idea would be very much from a spiritual point of view. I think that this is a spiritual battle against light and darkness, and I think people partner with darkness easier than they do the light, and I think that's what we're seeing. Ultimately, I think it's a very insidious darkness that is behind this.
Have you spoken to many Muslim people about what's going on, and have they agreed with what you say?
Yes, I have spoken to so many Muslims who 100% agree, that do not march, that do not agree with this, that do not stand with this hatred. They stand with Israel, they stand with democracy, they stand with freedom. We have to remember, Israel is the safest place for Christians and Jews to live. There are 2 million Arabs in the state of Israel with the same rights as the Jews and the Christians. There is no apartheid in Israel, and Israel is the one who's been protecting the Al-Aqsa mosque that they say they love, when the Islamic regime sent 200 missiles into residential areas all over Israel on Rosh Hashanah.
Thank you so much for your time on camera today. Really good to see you, and we'll catch up afterwards. Definitely. Take care. So as you see right now, there is still a large crowd of Palestinian protesters, and they are currently marching towards Parliament Square in Westminster. And the Israel protesters behind me, there are an estimated, we've been standing here for about half an hour, or well over half an hour already, and I estimate between 50 to 100,000 Palestinian protesters on the march just behind me, and they're still passing by. There's also a gap in between to keep the two crowds separated so they don't get too close to each other. And in the distance over there, to my left, the police have formed a bit of a cordon so nobody can sort of clash. But as you see, the crowd is still moving past. There's a barrier set up as well, so the Israeli protest is just behind me on one side, and then the Palestinian protest is further to the right, and it's heading towards Parliament Square. My name is Louis Errington. I'm an independent journalist, and I cover a broad variety of protests and events in central London, and also Speaker's Corner on a frequent basis most Sundays. So we'll be live tomorrow as well, so stay tuned for that. And if you're new to the channel and this is your first live stream watching my channel, feel free to subscribe and also hit the bell notification button, as that does indeed help the algorithm, so you'll be notified whenever I upload a video or start a live broadcast. But we're still here right now, and I think the Israel protest is projected to occur for another half an hour or hour and a bit, so we'll still be here, and then hopefully after that we'll head down towards Parliament Square and interview a few of the Palestinian protesters as well. I think they're just speaking to him. Hi there, my name is Louis Errington. I'm a freelance independent journalist. We'd like to say a few words to the video. Sorry?
Thank you, but I won't.
Okay, that's fine. No worries. Excuse me. Hi there. I'm a freelance independent journalist. Would you like to say a few words to the camera? No, I'm just myself. My name is Louis Errington. I cover everything in London. So this is just my job. Just to cover no, it's just I'm freelance working, so I'm just by myself. I'm also studying at uni, but I'm impartial. I'm a really impartial. I cover many Israel protests, everything over the last 3 years of my time. But yeah, it's sorry.
true Jews and you're supported by the Islamist Brotherhood, and you have no shame. You have no shame to pretend you come from our long respected lineage. You should be ashamed of yourself. You are disgrace to every It's a call for prayer, we say. A peaceful message. It's a peaceful message, they will say.
understood what we've been saying, and it's only after repeated prompting to the police they've taken action. So we haven't altogether felt that they've been on our side. But it's uplifting to be with our own kind of family that know the truth.
Do you think the UK government is doing enough, or should they go further?
I think they should go a lot further. I think the media, I think the government have caused a lot of the hate towards Jews, towards Israel, towards the situation, because they've been giving out incorrect information. It's been proved by the BBC recently, who have been found to have given at least 1,500 false bits of information. It's not helped.
Now we know there were a lot of Palestinian protesters in central London today, and there was a huge crowd. Some of what you might be saying, from others' opinions, might be true. Why do you think there's still a huge, big crowd of Palestinian protests as well?
Why do I think there's so many? There are stories, I don't know if it's true or not, that people have been bussed in for today.
Do you know any friends or family who are affected by the situation that is ongoing?
We know a lot of friends and family in Israel who are affected because they've got children in the army, they've got, they know people who've died, they know people who are at Nova who are kidnapped, they know people who were murdered at Nova. We've actually been to Nova and seen the place. But also, just in the UK, it's hard for my daughter to go to university when she's surrounded by hate for Jews. Really, really.
Thank you so much for your time on camera today. Very good to meet you. My name is Louis Arrington. Thank you. Much appreciated. Excuse me. Hi there, my name's Louis Arrington. I think, did I interview you before?
I don't even interview you before, I've seen you around.
Yeah, definitely. Very good to meet you. What's your name?
I'm Cameron, nice to meet you.
Very good to meet you. Do you want to say a few words to the camera quickly?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Maybe just after this.
Well, after this, when we further away. I'm just going to say bye. Great to see you.
Should we do it now? Perfect, and then we can get a background. Cool. Maybe just with the flags in the background, if that's okay? Sure. Thank you so much.
Is it going to be an interview you just want?
Yeah, it's just it's on a YouTube live broadcast.
I don't usually do this, it may be crap.
That's fine. No, Doris, so...
What's it, sorry, who's this for? Is it your own channel?
My own channel on YouTube, Louis Arrington.
Okay, right,
so,
you can send me a link for after.
Definitely.
Sorry, I'm not...
No, it's fine. So, what's it been like for you today, protesting in central London?
It's sort of a double-edged sword, it's great to be with everybody here supporting Israel, supporting freedom, standing against terrorism. It's really encouraging when so many people come out, because it can often feel like quite a lonely fight standing up against Hamas and the pro-Palestinian cause and the terrorists, but it's also can be quite unpleasant as well. You're up against a very violent, aggressive crowd showing open support for terrorism, prescribed terrorist organisations, and that can be quite discouraging. And the size of these crowds that we've seen across London over the last year, across the entire Western world, is quite frankly just frightening. But it's great to be here with people showing these terrorist supporters, people of following this false cause, that they will not control the streets and they will not have the streets alone. That there is some defiance and people standing up for freedom, for democracy, for the return of the hostages from the Hamas tunnels where they've been held for nearly a year. So yeah, it's scary and can be quite depressing at times, but it's also encouraging. And we've got a great bunch of people here.
What do you think of the UK government's response so far?
So over the last year, it's been a very mixed bag. Since the change of government, since we had Labour coming into power, it's been absolutely appalling. They have turned their backs on Israel entirely, seemingly to pander to whether it's backbench or some grassroots radical political interests who are supportive of Hamas or sympathetic to Hamas. So we saw the halting of some armed export licenses to Israel, which is absolutely appalling, to abandon Israel in its time of need, when it's standing up, fighting for its life against terrorists. Their decision to resume funding to UNRWA, to UN Works and Release Agency, which was proven to have played a significant part in the October 7th attacks, and multiple of its members were involved in the October 7th attack and actually took hostages as effectively a Hamas front group. The last government, for all their faults and prevarication towards Israel, did rightly choose to withdraw UK funding. This government have done that, have chosen to resume it. Absolutely appalling. It's quite disgusting, quite frankly, in my view. And I think it's just been generally appalling. There seems to be, as we've seen, the political pressures from certain seats in certain parts of the country. We have 5 effectively pro-Hamas independents who have been elected at the last election, taking predominantly Labour seats from Labour MPs. This Labour government are feeling the pressure from very, very nasty people who show open support for Hamas and Hezbollah and despise Israel, and in fact all our Western liberal democratic values. That's what they're feeling the heat about. I think, in my view, defiant, principled government should be standing up against these people, saying no. You don't have to like Netanyahu or agree with Netanyahu. This isn't about Netanyahu or any government. It's about a liberal democracy, the only liberal democracy in the Middle East, standing up against terrorist groups, Hamas and Hezbollah. Hamas who carried out the worst attack on Jews, and also non-Jews and Muslims also caught up in the crossfire as well. It's important to remember that on October the 7th, who are holding still, I think it's upward of 100 hostages still held in Hamas tunnels. The entire world, free world, should be aligned in supporting that power against the terrorists. Unfortunately, as we've seen today and over last year, there are far too many who aren't. It's deeply depressing, but we do what we can. We stand out here as part of Stop the Hate and other associated groups here to stand up against these terrorist marches.
Now we know recently Iran tried to strike Israel with a lot of missiles, and Keir Starmer has actually condemned that. So do you think he's trying to hand it to both sides?
I think that's an interesting point. I think it does indicate the degree to which a lot of their hostility towards Israel is very cynical and performative in order to try and, pander to these kind of backbench interests and to, some radical parts of the voting public. I agree with you. You do see this kind of playing of both sides, but their position is irreconcilable because you see them choosing to cut off some arms export. And I think that's key, that it's not all. Even they know that that would be a reckless move to make, at least for now. Who knows to the extent. But anyway, you see them doing that, and then in the same breath, after the attacks, you're right, Keir Starmer saying, we stand with Israel and its right to defend itself. Well, clearly you don't. Both things cannot be true. And I think you're right. It shows that it doesn't, I should say one thing, excuse what they've done. It doesn't make it okay just because it may be somewhat performative and cynical. In fact, it makes it even worse, I feel, because a lot of these, well, at least you would hope, Keir Starmer, David Lammy, other senior figures in the government, you hope at least in their heart of hearts would understand that Israel is fighting the good fight, but feel that fighting the good fight is fighting up against terrorism, wants to get its hostages home, is facing a situation of being cornered and attacked on all sides. It's civilians taking hostages that no other country would accept, and that they know this privately, but they can't say it because of political interests. I think that's in some ways even more cowardly. So I agree with you, there is some sort of signaling to both sides, but I fear, unfortunately, as we see with the numbers on these marches, with the results of the recent election, I hope I'm wrong, that the terrorist side is winning out, and I fear that the government will be pushed more in that direction. I should say, for the record, it does not excuse what they've done. Of any principled government, of any political colour, right, left, centre, should be standing up against those minority in terms of size of the votes, let me be clear, size of the population, interests who are standing for terrorism and up against liberal democracy.
Yeah. And in terms of the overall solution to this, what do you think the solution should be?
With regards to the Middle East,
yeah.
It's extremely tough because effectively, so firstly, Israel, and has been proven by October the 7th, even just on a kind of realpolitik basis, but morally, cannot, and it is not pragmatic to live and coexist alongside Hamas and Hezbollah. I think the calculation amongst Israeli political circles for a long time, and the calculation amongst a lot of supporters of Israel, well, Hamas and Gaza are evil, and it's this evil terrorist regime, and handing back the Gaza Strip in 2005 was probably a mistake. I should say, by the way, I'm representing the views of myself and nobody else with the group, just in case, because people have different views on this. I just want to make that very clear. I represent no group or party or whatever. But That was the calculation, that however bad that situation was, it was better than trying to go into Gaza, overthrow Hamas on an extremely bloody operation, which would kill probably end up in lots of Gazan civilians getting caught in the crossfire, as well as IDF troops. October the 7th proved, as well as being one of the most evil acts we've seen in human history, that's just not a viable solution. Israel cannot be expected to live alongside Hamas in that manner. It's simply not pragmatic. Same with Hezbollah in the north, who are actually the greater threat and was sort of ignored by a lot of political observers for a long time. I think it's very tough, because I think the current Israeli government is a rock in a hard place, because a lot of the Israeli public, understandably so, want to see the hostages return home at all costs, even if that means coming to a deal with Hamas. Obviously, these are their mothers, their fathers, their sisters, their brothers, family members who have been killed, subject to untold atrocities, and many of them are still under there. And they obviously don't care about any wider political question, they just want their hostages home. Meanwhile, the government has other political considerations, i.e. the security of the Israeli public, whether it's viable to have Hamas or Hezbollah remain in place. So it's difficult, because they're stuck in a rock and a hard place. If they go for, say, a military solution that may result in some of the hostages not being returned home, which would be unconscionable, a lot of the public is going to be understandably up in arms. But meanwhile, if they were to, say, strike a deal with Hamas or Hezbollah, a ceasefire, as much of the world is calling for, which results in all the hostages coming home, other parties are going to be saying, that's incredible that we've got our civilians out, our brothers, sisters, mothers, daughters home. But now Hamas are still there, and this same round of cycle goes again. That leads to future October the 7th as Hamas and Hezbollah have expressed their intention to do. So a long answer, unsatisfying answer is, I think it's very, very difficult. I'm not sure there is a long-term solution. The population, this is by poll data proves this, the population of both Gaza and the West Bank, and this is just by poll data, it's tragic, it's cycles of indoctrination, but are extraordinarily radical. They hold views that are overwhelmingly in support of terrorism, highly anti-Semitic, highly homophobic, hostile to all sorts of people, to Christians, to Muslims who don't follow their radical sect of Islam. That support went up after October the 7th. I probably don't need to tell you or your audience. We saw poll data that represented that. It's tragic, and it's a result of indoctrination. But that is what Israel is up against, and you cannot have coexistence with a population with those views. It's proven. They've been offered a state, God knows how many times since 1948, and have refused every time, because much of that population, tragically, does not want coexistence with Israel. So I don't think that the traditional solution is commonly espoused, a two-state solution. In an ideal world, it would be wonderful and fantastic. Obviously, Palestinians should have self-determination alongside a Jewish state of Israel. But I think if you speak to anyone who kind of studies or understands the reason, that's clearly not viable. I think that you're probably going to have, again, this is my personal view, not that of anyone else's, some form of long-term Israeli military occupation of both those regions, with some form of Palestinian civil government to allow Israel to protect its own security. But obviously that's extremely controversial. A lot of Israelis have no interest in that because of their own blood that it will shed. It's going to lead to a lot of IDF casualties and Israeli civilian casualties, let alone, and obviously I'm not sure the world will let them do that, which is a problem in the international community, but that's another issue.
Now, another question. Do you think there's a potential risk that this could escalate further, potentially with more countries involved?
I think the problem is with the use of the term escalation is that people act now as if there's no war or conflict going on. Israel are under attack and have been for the last year. Israel are under mortal threat from their enemies. Hezbollah have been firing rockets into Israel since October the 8th, since the day after the October the 7th attacks. If that's not escalation, I don't know what is. It's not as if October the 7th happened, which is bad enough, and then all the attacks just stopped. It's been continuing. So, it's in terms of escalation, Israel have been doing what it needs to do to wipe out Hamas in Gaza in a highly targeted operation involving civilian casualties, taking unprecedented measures that even the British or American military don't, leaflets, SMS messages warning civilians to get out. There have been multiple studies that have proven, despite the common screams of genocide and all of this, that this is actually, urban warfare is extremely bloody, just in the history of urban warfare, that generally that the civilian to casualty ratio in Gaza is the lowest in the history of urban warfare, i.e. the lowest number of civilians killed to military personnel. So Israel's operation has already been very targeted, and in Hezbollah similarly. What right now, quite frankly, Israel have been prevaricating against. So what I'm trying to say with all of this is that Israel have shown an enormous amount of restraint already. Quite frankly, more than a lot of people think that they should have. They've probably cost a lot of IDF lives unnecessarily by doing what they're doing. The fact is that the risk of escalation is actually exacerbated by Western powers not allowing Israel to do what it needs to do to defend itself. If America and the UK had given Israel the backing to do what it needs to do to take out Hamas full throttle without various conditions, threats of arms withdrawals if they say went into Rafah or went into this part of Gaza, into that, this war could have been over before even 2023 was out. If Israel really wanted to bring its full military arsenal
Turn yourself upside down and be a mob.
they could have, and it would have cost. So we see this all the time. Just to interrupt you.
What's your take on what's going on just around us?
You know, the march is supposedly over. We still have people, terrorist supporters. You can see this individual on a bicycle coming past and insulting us, shouting terrorist slurs. And the march is meant to be over. It is relentless and it is endless. This is what we're up against. You know, and the march started about 3 hours ago now. It is just endless. You know, you'll see that in the background. So, but the fact is, even for those, a lot of concern is expressed about Palestinian civilian casualties, and understandably so. It draws, nothing is worse for civilian casualties in Gaza than drawing and padding this war out further, than ensuring that it has to get more blood. Israel has to carry out these kind of target operations where they go into an area, take out a bunch of Hamas terrorists, rescue them hostages, and then leave again, because God forbid that they are allowed to actually hold territory they've taken. We've seen in, say, Vietnam, this just doesn't work. And that, on the back end, leads to far more civilian casualties, because it's the same with the debate around aid into Gaza, right? If Israel had been allowed to just finish off Hamas in the first few months, got the full backing from us and the Americans, they could have spent the last however long, nearly a year, just getting aid relentlessly into Gaza and not being impeded by Hamas and other terrorist groups, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, who are stealing most of the aid, right? It's just the current approach, even from the perspective of civilian casualties, is just counterproductive.
From the liver to the knee.
And I wish that governments across the West understood that in terms of risk of escalation. The same is similar in with Hezbollah. You know, the way that you scare large and contain large military powers is through a policy of containment, taking out your enemies where they are and showing strength. October the 7th, one of the reasons why October the 7th happened is because Israel was perceived as showing complacency and being weak. Israel's operations against Hezbollah, as their ones against Hamas, are some of the most, the explosions of the pages, sabotaging page, that's one of the most targeted military operations ever seen in history. You're literally targeting devices held only by the criminals. If you have a pager, you're either stuck in the past or you're, even in the Middle East, a Hezbollah terrorist. So I think the risk of escalation is greatly exacerbated by Israel being curtailed in doing what it needs to do. And if escalation means Israel defending itself and wiping out its enemies, fundamentally, I don't think Iran or the US or the UK or Israel wants a full-blown war. But other powers may strike. You see this even, with Ukraine. It's a separate conflict. Russia struck at Ukraine fully in 2014 against Crimea in the eastern provinces, and then fully in 2022 because they perceived weakness amongst the West and Western allies. It's no coincidence, again, my view is not anyone else's, that you had the capitulation in Afghanistan about a year before, and then Putin suddenly is on Ukraine and go, oh, I think the West is probably just going to stand by again, because why wouldn't they? It's actually a very rational calculation for them to make. See the same in Israel and Gaza. Israel is perceived as weak, their enemies are perceived as strong, and they're perceived as complacent, and a lot of these terrorist groups know full well, quite rationally, that allies are not going to come to the aid of Israel as fully as they should do, and put lots of conditions or threaten them, and they can quite frankly rile up radical terrorist populations and groups, as you see on the streets of London. They're not stupid, these people, they're evil. I mean, the terrorist groups from us, they knew that protests like this were going to result for the last year. They know that they can rely on this. They're not stupid. They're evil, but they're not stupid. So a long answer to your question, I apologise if I've gone on a tangent, is showing strength and containment against your enemies, allowing Israel to do what it needs to do to defeat Hezbollah. If you want to have Iran on the rocks as they are now, it's because Israel have taken out almost the entire Hezbollah high command. Now Iran are worried, not because if Israel had heeded the views of the West, going for a ceasefire, not striking back against its enemies, Iran would feel Iran and Russia and China and North Korea and all these enemies of the West feel much more emboldened. And that's basically kind of my long answer to that.
Do you know any friends and family who are personally affected by the situation ongoing? And if so, what are their experiences as such?
I'm going to be fully honest, I don't have any personal friends and family, no, but you will if you speak to anyone around here, we have Israelis, British Jews, non-Jews, all types, who have almost, every Jew or non-Jew has some connection with Israel, will know somebody either in first or second degree, of separation, who was either, killed or affected by the attacks is fighting in the IDF right now, and they're terrified, for their lives when they're fighting in Gaza or has lost somebody. So actually, I would encourage you to speak to some of the other people here to ask them about that. But everyone knows somebody, or a friend or a relative of somebody. It's very, Israel's not a big country. I think you would have seen this proportionately. 7th of October, people say it was Israel's 9/11 in terms of, it was actually larger in terms of proportion of the population in Israel that were killed as opposed to the US in 9/11. It's a small country due to a small population and a small community, so everyone we do tend to know a lot of people or have kind of a lot of connection to Israel. But yeah.
Now, we saw earlier today that the Palestinian protest was very large and was very popular, but some of your views you might think are true, but why do you think that there's still a lot of support for Palestine?
Mass indoctrination, mass radicalization, a lot of it unfortunately through the education system, a lot of hangers-on and people brought along who I genuinely think, and this might be one note of optimism, there are a lot of people who have no idea what they are shouting or chanting, who are brought along. I think you have a minority of hardcore kind of radical Islamic extremists, a lot of them who do say the triangle or hold Hamas flags, who know full well what they're doing and are committing a crime, and some of whom were arrested today, you may have seen in your filming. Showing the triangle, which is a Hamas targeting mechanism, Hamas flags, that is a crime and they should be arrested and go to jail for a long time for support for terrorism. A lot of people who are just brought along by their friends who can't even point to Israel or Gaza or the West Bank on a map, and they think it's good fun and that they just care about humanitarian casualties and all of this, but they don't realise that the flag that they're waving or what they're chanting is genocidal. I implore people, if they're watching from the other side, who maybe been told to come along by a friend or have been told just one side of the story, read more about what is going on and do not come along to these rallies. When you're, as people have pointed out, maybe you can make a mistake one week in going to a rally and thinking it's just about, caring about civilians, and you hear anti-Semitic slogans chanted from the river to the sea, which is a call for the genocide of Israel, and you make that mistake once. But if you're coming, as people have said throughout this year, week after week after week, whether you're any race, religion or creed, to rallies in which you have anti-Semitic slogans being chanted, calls for open support for terrorism, calls for the destruction of Israel, calls of death to Jews, with people wearing keffiyeh, which is an open expression of support for terrorism, you can no longer use the excuse after a while of just, I was dragged along, I didn't know what you're doing. You're choosing to come along to these rallies, people are indoctrinated, they don't know what's going on. I think the mainstream media, particularly the BBC and Sky News and others, who have been shameful. If you don't know anything about the region, if you can't point to Israel, the Gaza Strip, the West Bank or Iran or Lebanon on a map, and you don't know anything about this, and all you're seeing night after night on the 6 o'clock news on the BBC, funded by British taxpayers, is lies about civilian casualties taken from Hamas, very graphic pictures of blood-stained children being taken out of rubble with no context as to the Hamas military installations that Israel was striking, open lies, terrorist propaganda. Recently you had a sermon from the Ayatollah broadcast for 40 minutes uninterrupted on the BBC, on British. If this is all you're seeing, no wonder you're going to end up indoctrinated. I think that the media, and particularly the broadcast media, if you almost have to feel bad for some people, not that it excuses anything to say, if that is all you're seeing night after night, you don't know anything about the conflict, of course you're going to come out with the views and be indoctrinated. And the media bear a huge degree of responsibility, as do our universities and academics, spreading, lies about Israel, open support for terrorism and all these things. I think there's a vast number of reasons. It's disturbing, it's depressing, but all we can do as part of these rallies, as everyone here does, is show that they do not have the streets unopposed, even if they are larger in number. There's also, as we know, they're funded by the trade unions. A lot of these are professional protesters. They've been at this game for decades. Their signs are mass produced. You can see them from the trade unions. You can see the logos of trade unions. A lot of them, not all, but a lot are complicit in what is going on as well. And it's deeply disturbing. And you often also, as you may have covered or seen elsewhere, the cases of two-tier policing, which police are treating them with an extremely light touch, and any of us at our rallies, whenever we supposedly put a foot wrong or perceived to have said something wrong, jumping on us as if we're football hooligans to arrest us, is also shameful. And you've seen the streets surrender to these people, the streets of London, Birmingham, Manchester, cities all across the West. I think from the police perspective that comes from a mix of, there's a lot of ignorance amongst rank and file police officers who don't know what the slogans, who don't know what's going on. Again, why should they? They're British police sitting in the streets of London. They're just interested in stopping crime and maintaining law and order. There is also a huge amount of them, and many of them have been captured saying this in undercover footage from other rallies. They're terrified of the people. Look at the size of these rallies. This isn't the largest one that we've encountered. The police know full well, in many cases, they are not equipped, and they do not have the numbers to to go in and arrest individuals at these rallies, because people do get violent, they are aggressive, they will attack. A number of our members have been attacked before. I understand, I have a lot of sympathy for the police in that sense. The reason why these marches are being allowed to run riot, they're terrified. It's scary for us as well, but we have a lot of brave people who come out here week after week.
To be devil's advocate and impartial, what are your sources of information and how can you back up that they're factually correct?
I mean, in general, the conflict from a vast swathe of anybody on the ground in Israel and Gaza who are reporting this. There are a number of great sources who are doing fantastic journalism on this. Israeli papers, Times of Israel, a Jerusalem Post, a number of... You tend to find anyone who's writing on the conflict spreading these similar lies about Israel. For instance, on just one example, right, the casualty figures are taken directly from Hamas. The most the BBC will ever do is provide a disclaimer, which came after months of lobbying from the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism and kind of other pro-Israel groups and others, and calls from some in government and Parliament for them to call them terrorists. They'll still parrot the figures of 40,000, 50,000 civilians. They'll just say, well, they're from Hamas, so it's fine that we've expanded ourselves. There are lots of journalists doing good work, journalists on the ground. You'll notice that most journalists don't actually want to go into Gaza, because it's terrifying, it's really dangerous. Actual war reporting is deadly dangerous. People are killed. We've seen multiple conflicts for years. You see the few people reporting, giving a balanced perspective, the number of Hamas terrorists, the emplacement of Hamas terrorists in civilian and military installations within the Gaza Strip, the civilian to casualty ratio. I'll actually send you a citation on that because it's very important. It's by a specific study by, and there's an American expert in military history. I'll send you the link after this because it's quite important, who shows that the civilian to military casualty ratio in the Gaza Strip is the lowest, if not one of the lowest, in urban warfare in history. Urban warfare is bloody. Urban warfare is extremely bloody. If you saw, the coalition forces taking on ISIS in Raqqa in 2014 or 2015, just look at the Second World War, the most righteous war ever fought by the Allies. Civilian casualties, countless. I mean, there was no concern for civilian casualties of Germans, or in German cities as we were going through Germany, and the Soviets were going through Germany. Tens of thousands of people killed. In fact, it's usually the vast majority of people killed in urban warfare are civilians. So there's a huge amount of sources doing good reporting on it, but not from the mainstream media, and they don't get large traction. Because obviously the largest, unfortunately, or most influential media sources, the BBC, Sky, the BBC funded by our taxes. A lot of even the print media have been terrible on this. They're still, despite social media, despite the role of incumbents in kind of breaking these media monopolies, they still get out to a lot of people. There are a lot of the British public who just ordinary people going about their lives who don't know anything about the conflict, could barely point to Israel on a map, whose only impression, as I said earlier, of what's going on in Israel and Gaza is from the BBC each night. And is it any wonder people are coming out, often ordinary Brits with no connection to the conflict in the Middle East, and spouting vile anti-Semitic propaganda and that Israel are committing a genocide and the baby murderers? They're not being told anything else. And the BBC, and I say specifically to the BBC more than almost any other, are directly responsible for that. And they and Sky and any journalist telling us should be ashamed. It's even more egregious with the BBC because we pay our taxes for this propaganda to be fed, and it's dangerous and it's incitement. One incident, I think it was the bombing of the Al Shifa hospital, which Jeremy Bowen, I believe, and I may be getting some of these wrong, claimed had been directly attacked by Israel as it was a hospital. Look, we see another one here. Sorry to interrupt. Just a coach here going by with a Free Palestine logo. You cannot catch a break if you're just an ordinary Londoner or British Jew or anyone else trying to go about your business. Look, bring this Free Palestine, Palestinian flag, terrorist propaganda through the streets. These are people just trying to go about their lives. You can't escape it. But anyway, sorry, that incident with Jeremy Bowen, that story, which was then proven to be completely false, because Israel were actually targeting a military installation nearby, that led to an actual rise in violence all across the Middle East against Jews. And Israeli embassies attacked across the Middle East, attacks against Jews in the West. That is the BBC being directly responsible. Jeremy Bowen never apologised when he went on a news special talk like this. He never apologised for this, directly inciting violence against Jews. That is shameful, and they have a responsibility to even just say Israel claims this happened and the Palestinians claim this happened, which they almost never do. The Palestinian facts or the Hamas facts are reported as facts without intervention, and then later they might issue a disclaimer or correction. How many people see the correction against the initial story? A fraction of that. And yeah, it's been yeah, it's been shameful. So.
Thank you so much for your time on camera today. It's been a pleasure.
No
My
worries.
name's Louis. Very good to meet you.
Thank you.
And see you again. But yeah, I'll edit that, upload
Thank
and
you.
everything. I'm just going to probably wrap up now.
I'm sorry for
definitely.
waffling.
No. Can you, my
Oh,
viewers
wait.
liked it.
Do you mind?
It's called Louis Errington on YouTube.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's trustworthy. I just want to know what.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's fine. Louis Errington.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We've
You're
been rolling for 3 hours and 20 minutes already.
Christ, yeah.
I know.
You have a lot of editing to do. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, loads of editing.
How long does it take to cut everything all down?
Sometimes depends on software you use, but when I'm using it on my own laptop, it's iMovie, and then if it's at where I work at, it will be on like it's called Netflix Drive.
Right.
It's like a very techy like editing software that I'm still trying to get to grips with. But yeah, I'll just quickly end my stream and then
of course,
I'll be 2 seconds. Yeah. Okay, we're now going to end this live broadcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. We'll be at Speaker's Corner tomorrow at some point, and I'll keep you guys updated if there's any more protests or events taking place. Thank you for tuning in once again. My name's Louis Errington. I'm a freelance independent journalist, and I cover a broad variety of protests and events. We've been streaming for 3 hours now, so I'll try edit a few of the interviews and all sorts of other clippings from today. But thank you very much once again, and I'm now signing off. Take care, everyone, and have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.